Hello and welcome to Marion's World, and it's Marion's World in the kitchen today, and that's because I'm going to share with you the Christmas cake recipe that I've been baking every single year for over 40 years. A good one to do a little bit late because I'm actually late making mine because there's no feeding to do. It doesn't matter when you make it, it's going to be gorgeous. There's no feeding to do because the alcohol is all added right at the beginning. And so I'm going to tell you the ingredients and then I'm going to show you exactly how quick it can come together when you've got everything prepped like I have now. So I've got my oven already on. It's an electric oven. I've got it on at 150C, but that's equivalent to gas mark 2. I've got my Christmas cake tin prepared. I'm using a 9-inch round tin and I've got it double layered with greaseproof paper. If you want to make a square cake, then you'll need an 8-inch square. And this one might look old and dark because it is old and dark. This is a really old tin. I'll leave it there ready. Ingredients. In my big bowl here I have got, and I'm just going to tell you the ounces, and I will put the recipe in the description of this video, and I'll try and work out the grams as I go, so you've got both sets of weighing instructions. So I've got 8 ounces of butter and 8 ounces of soft brown sugar, and I definitely would say this is a time to use butter, and you could mix this with an electric mixer. I don't actually have one, so I do it all with a wooden spoon. So I've got my butter really soft, and I'm just going to mix this round until it's nice and light and fluffy, which doesn't take very long when your butter is nice and soft. And you can see within not even a couple of minutes it's almost there. Maybe you can notice I'm wearing my pinny that I made during last year's Advent diary, and so if you want to see how to make a lovely denim pinny like I'm wearing, I'll put the video link in the description too, because there was all sorts of nice things that I did for the Advent diary last year. Right, I'm counting that as done. The next thing, I'll just move that to one side. I've got my dry ingredients. So in this bowl here, I have 8 ounces of self-raising flour, and I've got 3 ounces of ground almonds. Now that might be called almond flour somewhere else, but ground almonds has sort of a texture to it. It's not fine like actual flour. So that's what's in there, and to that I'm going to add my spices, and on here I have half a teaspoon of 4 different spices. I've got ground cloves, ground cinnamon, ginger and nutmeg. Half a teaspoon of each one, and it's going in with my flour. I'll just give that a mix with my big spoon. Next, I need my wet ingredients. To start off, I've got 3 eggs, and yeah, that's right, just 3 eggs in this cake. And also what I've got in there is a tablespoon of golden syrup and black treacle. Now, I know some other countries don't necessarily have golden syrup. You can get away with just molasses or black treacle, but if you don't have it at all, just don't worry about it. It'll be fine without putting it in. It's a very forgiving recipe. So I'll just mix them up, and I'm going to add more into this wet mixture. I'll just get my eggs whipped up first. And into the eggs I'm adding what should be, but isn't, what should be the grated rind and juice of a lemon and an orange. Now, I'd actually forgotten to buy an orange, so I've put 2 lemons in here, and I've added a bit of orange juice from some dilated squash, so that'll be fine. And all I've done is made up the juice to how I think an orange would have had more juice than a lemon. So that's going into my egg mixture. Give it another whisk. And here's where all the alcohol is going to come in. Now, if you don't want to put alcohol in your cake, I'm sure you'd be able to use juice instead, but I don't, and I don't actually drink very much at all, but I do love putting the alcohol in my Christmas cake. So in these little pots that I'm being so clever and measured it out for you already to make it quick, I have in this one, that one has 2.5 fluid ounces of brandy in it goes. This one has 2.5 fluid ounces of masala. Now masala, I never used to be able to get that here, and I used to swap that out for a dry sherry. That's going in. My favourite one, this is my tipple when I want one, it's got 2 fluid ounces of port. That's going in. So now I've got all my wet ingredients. I'll just tidy up. All my wet ingredients, and you can see there's quite a lot in that jug. That's actually made 1 litre of wet ingredients. And I just whips it together, and the smell is absolutely divine. To go with that, we need the fruit, because obviously it's a rich fruit cake. Altogether, you need about 2 pounds 4 ounces of dried fruit. Now, the original recipe is quite an old one, and it used to just have sultanas, currants, raisins, peel and cherries. And over the years, I've tweaked this about, and I don't think, each year I think I do a different mixture, and it always comes out well. In the bowl this year, I'll give you a look, I've got some mixed peel, some chopped up dark cherries, sultanas, currants, raisins, I've got chopped up apricots, I've got chopped up ginger, and I've got some dried cranberries. I've also been known to add in chopped up prunes, dates, I've put figs in before, I've put pineapple, mango. It doesn't really matter, whatever pleases you to put in, whatever you like, that'll be fine. You just need a total weight of about 2 pounds and 4 ounces of fruit. And I think you probably need to have a base of the sultanas and raisins and currants. Well, now, you're ready to put the cake together. And actually, the first thing is just to push all of this flour in with the dried fruit. Like that. Give it a stir around. So the flour coats all of the fruit. Doesn't take long. It took longer to just get it all prepped. I don't know how the kitchen people who are doing recipes all the time do. Anyway, that's all done. They're all covered. I've got my dry, I've got my wet, now I've got my bowl of butter and sugar. All I have to do now is keep alternating them. So I put a bit of this in, and I start stirring it. And once it starts to be all right, I shove a couple of spoons of the floury fruit in. A couple of big spoons of floury fruit, maybe 3. Like that, and start giving it a stir. You can see it's just going to start coming together. It's quite a wet mixture in the end, but it is going to be in the oven for a very long time. More liquid, more floury fruit. More stirring. The smell is just amazing. Apart from all the spices, it's all the flipping alcohol. It is quite a simple recipe once you start doing it. There are a lot of ingredients, but they're all pretty easy to come by. It's just the prepping them all out, and then once you start putting it together, it's quite simple. And I think even if you want to do this with a mixer, once you start putting this amount of fruit in, it really is better if you're doing it with a spoon. You don't want to chop up that fruit any more than you have to. And I think I'm going with the very last of my liquid. And get every drop out. Just give that a stir before I put the rest of the fruit. If it looks curdly, don't worry about it. It's going to be in a long time, it won't matter. And then all the rest of my dry mixture. Right, change to my metal spoon, and I'm just going to keep stirring this about until I've got it absolutely as good, as well mixed as I can. You can see it is quite a wet mixture. Don't expect it to look like a proper cake mixture, or like your usual cake mixture, that's what I would say now. I think that looks pretty decent to me. In with my cake tin, and all of this mixture is going to go into here. Now, part of the tradition in this house is that everybody gets a stir of the mixture, so they've already done that bit. And you make a wish when you're stirring the mixture. So Naomi sent a stir over from Berlin. I'm hollowing out the middle just so it's not totally flat on the top. And other than that, that is done. So I'm now going to put this in the oven. So it's now in there at Mark 2, which is 150 C. It's going to be in there for 1.5 hours, and I've put my timer on. After that, I'm not going to open the door. I'm going to leave it in the oven and turn the temperature down to 130, which is gas mark 1/2. And it's going to stay in there for another 3 to 3.5 hours. Now, what I say is that after about 2.5 to 3 hours when you've turned the temperature down, you just need to keep an eye on it, because our ovens are all different. If it looks like it's getting too brown on the top, put a layer or two of greaseproof paper over the top of the tin and it'll help protect it. But it should take that full 3 hours. It might not need the extra 1/2 hour. So if you've had it in for 1.5 hours at Mark 2, you turn it down and you have it in for another 3 hours at Mark 1/2, it might not need the extra 1/2 hour. If it looks good and you've pricked it with a thing and you've got no raw cake mixture and it smells good, then it's probably ready and it can come out. If you feel it needs that extra 1/2 hour, give it the extra 1/2 hour. And I'll show you mine when it comes out of the oven. But the thing is, it won't need any feeding, it won't need anything other than wrapping up well and keeping until you decorate it. Well, it's 4.5 hours later and my cake has just come out of the oven, and the smell in this house is just so gorgeous. There's nothing beats that smell of rich fruit cake with all those Christmassy spices. It's really hot, it didn't need the extra 1/2 hour. Anyway, it's looking amazing. Now, it doesn't need any feeding, it doesn't need anything. It's finished and ready. All I'm going to do is let it stay and go cold overnight, and then tomorrow morning I'll take it out of the tin and I will wrap it up with some fresh greaseproof paper. I usually leave these wrappings on, I don't take these off, but I wrap it again with greaseproof paper and then I'll wrap it again in foil. And I'll just put it to one side in a cake tin and I'll leave it till I'm ready to do some decorating. And it doesn't need anything else to do. So even if you're a bit late in getting your Christmas cake done, it's not too late. This will be lovely. It'll be perfect when you've done it. And so I hope you have a go with that. And Just make your own mix of fruit up. That's the main thing. Just do whatever pleases you to do. That long, slow cooking really brings everything together. And I'll be decorating this in December in the run up to Christmas, and you might see that in the Advent diary that I will be doing. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I'm just going to say thank you very much, and I'll give you one more look at it because I'm not going to do any more little outro than this. Just my cake's done, and thank you for watching, and subscribe if you haven't. I don't actually do many recipes on this channel. It's mainly sewing with a little bit of art thrown in, but what you can guarantee is there'll always be something interesting here at Marion's World. So thank you for joining me in my kitchen, and I'll speak to you next time. Bye everyone. Thank you so much.